Tom, we're all ready. Good afternoon, and this is the real Finance, Budget, and Personnel Committee meeting of November 2nd, 2021. First item on the agenda is to identify potential conflicts of interest. The packet is in front of you. You've had a chance to look at it. Does anybody wish to declare anything? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item, which is citizen comments. Are there any citizens who wish to make a comment? Going once, going twice, third time, we'll move on. Next up is the consent agenda. That's the minutes of the October 18th, 2021 meeting, the monthly position control report, and the bills and payroll. What's your wishes?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Nick to approve the consent agenda, second by Tom Witzel. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Consideration of items moved from the consent agenda, there are none. Request to recommend council approval of 2022 ambulance service contracts presented by Jennifer Selensky, accounting manager. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you. Good evening. Okay, so in reviewing our ambulance rates for 2022, we kept our we changed our methodology just a wee bit. You'll recall we did not raise the rates in 2021 due to COVID, but consistent with our budget philosophy of increasing expenses consistent with inflation, we did increase or are proposing to increase the rates that we charge our neighboring towns and villages by 5%. You'll recall these services are recorded in an enterprise fund, which means they do have to, revenue has to cover their own expenses. And in doing so at this rate, the fund will break even in the budget for 2022.
Would you repeat that percentage? It was 5%?
It was a 5% increase for each township or village.
Okay. The contracts in front of you, what are your wishes? Motion by Hendler to approve, second by Wenzel. Discussion. Mr. Wenzel.
Thank you. 5% increase. It shows here in the memo that it was a 5.7% increase in the consumer price index. And you also commented that the rates were not raised last year. Is the 5% going to be able to keep up with the additional costs based on a 2-year, well, essentially a 1-year freeze and then another year of not quite to the same index level?
It enables the fund, all things considered within the budget, to nearly break even. So our budgeted expenses throughout the fund, we took a look at that and then budget our revenue in accordance to what we anticipate our expenses to be. So it will should keep pace with our thoughts during budget.
Go ahead, Tom. You still have the floor.
I'm done. Thank you.
Did I miss something here? Did we have a deficit this year? And did we? I take it that we're supposed to nearly break even, but if we don't break even, then obviously we've got to shift money from another account. And how did we do this year? Did we break even this year or come close?
At the time of budget, our revenues, I'm looking for
perhaps that's unfair.
I think it will, because we have results only, I'm not sure exactly what through period, what was published in the budget. There is no total. Okay. Let's go back here. I would have to circle back with you on that.
Okay, thank you. Because I think that was probably unfair because we don't have any closing figures.
We are not closed for 2021.
So, okay.
There is still anticipated revenues coming in.
Okay. So we'll check on that again in January or so when we close the book, right?
Where we closed 21 actual result. Right. Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions? If not, we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the ambulance rates for the townships. If there being no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer. Next up is request to recommend council approval of compensation evaluation results and establishing a new pay grade for the city forester position, presented by Jen.
Thank you. So we had submitted this city forester revised job description back in September. This one took a little bit longer than normal, only because we did a review of the job description, and then they also did a position description questionnaire as part of the process, because if you recall, this was a newer position. This is a first incumbent in the role, and we really wanted to ensure we had a full scope of looking at this position when it was being evaluated. Kind of key points of the change in terms of the duties, it was reviewed for clarification as well as some additional duties. So keep in mind, this position has both an administrative and a field capacity. It does plan and schedule all things related to forestry in terms of the work that is done by contracted services, as well as the work that is done by our internal street division staff and then our interns in the summer. In addition, when we did review the job description, there is an increased level of experience, which would include supervisory experience. And then they do have some budget responsibilities, and they are the key contact for the community when it comes to forestry-related questions. So the memo summary is included in your packet, as well as a change for the pay grade. The recommendation is to move the pay grade from pay grade 127 to pay grade 128. And staff is requesting your approval of placement of the city forester position into pay grade 120.
What's your pleasure, folks?
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Hindler, second by Mr. Wetzel. Discussion? There being no discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? So carried. Okay, next up, Jen, you've got this one also. Request to recommend council approval of COBRA vendor agreement with DVS. Can
Thank
you
you.
take that for us, please?
Sure. So we currently contract with Security Health Plan to administer our COBRA administration for our benefit purposes. And Security Health Plan has decided to drop that service as of the next renewal year. So for us, that is January 1st. When Security Health Plan made the decision to no longer offer this service, they worked with a company called Diversified Benefit Services to administer the program. So in working with that, they were able to secure a reduced rate. They did also work with M3, who is our business service agreement provider. And so the cost per month with this change is actually going to save us some money. We currently pay about $275 a month, depending on the number of COBRA enrollees we currently have. What will happen going forward is there are a few transition costs. So I anticipate our costs in January are going to run about $200, but then after that, it'll be roughly cut in half, between $140 and $50 per month. So with that, a copy of the revised contract is included in your packet, but I am requesting approval of the contract with Diversified Benefit Services to administer our COBRA program effective January 1st, 2020.
What are your, Nick?
Motion to approve the contract with DVS.
Second by Mr. Wetzel. Discussion? Just one quick one. How frequent do we need to offer and manage COBRA? I mean, I didn't remember how many employees we had on that. Do you know?
Well, it's done monthly. So anytime someone would exit or lose eligibility for coverage, they need to be offered COBRA coverage. And so that's for health, dental, vision, and our flexible spending account. And so what this does is this kind of manages employees. Employees can go on COBRA for a minimum amount of 18 months if they choose to enroll. And in certain circumstances, that goes as hard as 36 months. So right now, as of today, we have 2 individuals that are on it, but we've had probably a dozen or so at different times, depending on what their circumstances are.
All at the same time?
Well, that's including dependents, in terms of how it's administered, but they really manage it from the day that that employee leaves. They get them registered, and then they collect all the premiums. They disperse those back to our vendors if they're enrolled. So it really does take the clerical piece out of it for us.
So this basically is a process of identifying the persons who are eligible, notifying them, and if they take advantage of it, collecting the funds and distributing it.
Full package.
Any further discussion? If not, we have a motion by Nick and a second by Mr. Wetzel. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
Okay, next up is the adjourn to closed session under Wisconsin State Statute, Chapter 19.85, Sub 1, Sub C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, and performance evaluation data of any public or employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, specifically pay adjustment for city forester. Need a motion. Motion by Wetzel, second by Nick. Discussion. There being none, roll call, please.
Wagner,
Yes.
Witzel,
Yes.
Paschal,
Yes.
Hendler, and Spiros.
Yes.
And we are in closed session. All set? Okay. We're back in open session, and in closed session, we discussed a pay scale adjustment for an employee, and the floor is now open for motions. You make a motion. Nick, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to adjust the pay for the city forester to step 3 of level 128.
128. Second by Mr. Handler. Discussion, no, Deb.
Could you make it effective November 10th of 2021 with the eligibility for the 7/1 pay increase?
Yes.
Mr. Handler, do you agree with that? We have a motion and a second to increase the pay of the city forester to step 3 of the pay scale number 128, effective January 1st? November 10th. November 10th. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Having no business, further business before us, we need to know if there are any items for the next agenda. Anybody? Okay, and that being the case, we need a motion to adjourn by Mr. Wetzel, second by Mr. Handler. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Fine. Thank you, we are adjourned. Thank you, Rebecca, good seeing you.